Airbnb bans snooping. Airbnb will be banning indoor security cameras and other recording devices from rental listings beginning April 30th. They will also now require hosts to disclose the presence of decibel monitors.
Yeah, so many hosts have policies for their Airbnbs that you can't have a party or you can't have too many people over. So you can set up a decibel monitor to notify you if the noise level goes above a certain amount or if they're going real hard.
Yeah. Like there could be a variety of things
that could, or if they have a pet, so a barking dog would trigger it as well. Right. So there's a variety of reasons that hosts might include decibel meters in their suites. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Airbnb's previous policy was to merely limit the use of cameras to common areas and require that they are not hidden. But it didn't require that the host disclose their location or whether or not they were inside or outside. There was likewise an ambiguity over spaces that weren't bedrooms, but nonetheless contain a couch or futon sufficient for sleeping. This ambiguity has led to problems like cameras being placed inappropriately close to the entrance of bathrooms. Airbnb likewise has a spotty track record of responding to complaints about surveillance, as exemplified by a 2019 report of a family finding a hidden camera disguised as a smoke detector, where the host was initially exonerated, then later banned, and the family refunded. I'm pretty sure that was after they blew it up on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
I don't believe this happened naturally. Discussion question: is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow and the footage from surveillance cameras inside of his rental property? No, it's obviously BS.
Honestly, well, I mean, for me, I just don't feel like this is going to do anything.
No, if people really wanted the dirty cameras, they were trying to hide them anyways.
Yeah.
And
so I just don't really understand the point of this policy change. I mean, I guess having a policy,
they can ban people more easily.
But I think it's more about plausible deniability for Airbnb and covering their own legal liability than it is about actually protecting the users.
They should
because
do that.
The hidden cameras are the users. Like what I want to know is what is the enforcement of this look like? Because hidden cameras are already banned, but as far as I can tell, it's the hidden cameras that are the actual problem.
You sold me on this. I was like, no, this makes sense. This will help somewhat. And no, not at all. Because people that were doing this nefariously were already hiding it. And that was already against the rules. So this is like banning the appropriate. That's not even appropriate. Banning the not really that bad, but still bad part of something, but leaving the really bad part of it just fine because it was already banned and people were already circumventing.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like
it's a really bad analogy, but I'm sure there's a good analogy out there.
The point is just that you're not really keeping the ne'er-do-wells from continuing to do what they were doing.
Yeah. People are going to break the law anyways.
Honestly, unless Airbnb is doing any actual auditing on their operators, I don't see how they're going to affect any kind of meaningful change.
There's no way they're going to. There's no way. They could have a system where they have a small team of people that randomly checks in on Airbnbs, but there's no way they could do all of them.
And here's a problem for me, is that if I was an Airbnb operator, which I'm not, I feel like this could push me underground. Because there is no possible way that I would have a property, particularly one that I'm not living at. If I had let's say, for example, I had a vacation property that I didn't live at full time and I Airbnb'd 11 months out of the year and I used occasionally. I don't, but let's say that I did. I'm not going to have functionally any surveillance cameras, even in the very common areas. So I'm not going to have any record if, say, for example, a fire was started in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. This is
So can I play kind of devil's advocate here a little bit and kind of go, okay, so then what is my recourse? Well, now, because there's absolutely no way that I'm not going to have at least a camera in a kitchen. If I was an operator, which I'm not, partly because I'd be paranoid about this kind of thing.
I think your reasoning there is fair and good, but I think the ultimate answer is that the golden days of Airbnb is like over and people should just go back to cheap hotels.
Okay, you skipped ahead in our conversation a little bit. I wanted to play devil's advocate for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair. I mean, yeah, if you don't live there, if there's no other way to observe, because like at a hotel, yeah, you don't have cameras inside the rooms, but you have cameras in the hallways.
Yep, in the common areas.
And the common areas, and you have hotel staff that are working there. So you have some amount of attendance.
A level of expectation that somebody is on hand to deal with a problem. But if nobody is on hand to deal with a problem, Kevin S. in Floatplane says, isn't that what's insurance for? Yeah, but do you know how much lower your insurance premiums are if you have cameras? Do you have any idea how much easier that conversation is going to go with your insurance provider if you have photographic proof of what happened?
Absolutely.
So yes, insurance is exactly why I would want to make sure that I have cameras in particular zones. Do you need a camera mounted to the bottom of your hot tub at a 45-degree angle toward the seat? No, obviously not.
Is that a thing that's happened?
I don't know. I mean, you name it, some perv has put a camera in it.
Probably.
Yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make is that there are legitimate places where if I was an Airbnb operator, I'd be looking at this going, okay, well, now I'm not allowed to do this, so I'm just going to do it sneakier. You know, man, I think about the tech savviness of the average person, and for every Airbnb owner with a hidden camera who gets busted by a really savvy renter, there's got to be 100 or 1,000 that don't.
There was one interesting idea. Someone said, bring a travel router and unplug theirs.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
It's a pretty decent idea, to be honest.
That's like pretty solid, actually.
Yeah. I don't know where the message went, so sorry, I can't quote your name.
Yeah, this is another thing. Novafrost says the hidden cameras are mostly nefarious actors installing them without the owner knowing about them. I think that that's probably a lot of it, but I also think that that's a lot of excuses.
It's a very good excuse.
And I mean, here's another thing. Like, I would definitely want a camera pointed at my internet setup. I've got a camera pointed at my rack right now.
You do, technically.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
I have at least 3 cameras pointed at racks that belong to me right now. Yeah. Because...
and ones that don't.
Even if all you want to know is, are the activity LEDs on that working? Like, if your internet's up but something else is wrong, like are the fans spinning on that server? Is that server on or not? Like, there's 100 reasons that you would want a camera pointed at your rack.
Yeah.
Like, say you're a Twitch streamer, for example. Sorry. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I would consider it to be unacceptable for me to not be able to monitor if someone is messing with the networking in the Airbnb and potentially endangering future guests. So it's like, okay, well, what's the middle ground here? I'll just not Airbnb my house. Yes, thank you. We know you got the answer, Luke. God,
hostels are fun and super cheap. I've stayed at a hostel for $30, and it was cool. Met some cool people. Often get really good suggestions of like places to go, places to eat, things to go see.